So I mentioned, like, over the last 5 years, I've developed a profile as a advocate for free expression, and free expression is a big part of living in the United States. And one of the greatest traditions of free speech here in our country is the bumper sticker. And you know, bumper stickers can be trendy. There's that German word Pfeffernugen, and it's like a marketing term for Volkswagen, and somehow that morphed into like fucking groovin', farver naked. There's like different things, and I like the way visualized world peace has morphed into visualized world peas, right? And you know, I've been to Denver a few times, but I don't know if they've had them here, but remember the local motion stickers with the palm tree and the kind of like the rainbow thing? I just never got that. You know, what are you trying to say? What is the meaning in that? You know, some stickers are funny, and you know, there's one sticker that pops up occasionally that's pretty heavy, and it's the one that says, "I love my country, but I fear my government." And you know, that for sure, that sticker can conjure up images of Waco and Ruby Ridge, the Rodney King beating, and or like TV shows like Cops, where the police are bum rushing these poor people and busting them for, like, you know, minuscule amounts of drugs or whatever. And you know, U.S. foreign policy can be really scary if you're living in the third world or some other part of the country and you're getting bombed. Hey, catch you guys later. So, you know, there's a statement, "I love my country, but I fear my government." It can imply that we live under the subjugation of some totalitarian regime. But, you know, if you live in Beijing or in a lot of parts of the world, you couldn't drive around with that sticker, because if you did, you'd get in a lot of trouble. So that sticker is a good example of how many of us here in our country take our freedoms for granted. And you know, in my work as president of JAMPAC over the last 5 years, I've had the opportunity to meet a lot of the people who represent us. And you know, sure, I've met a few rats, but I think for the most part, the people who I've worked with and met are quality people and are deserving of the term representative. And the reason why some anti-government rhetoric can be troublesome for me is that without an effective, efficient government that represents the best interests of the people, we're going to be stuck with big business and big religion, and we can't vote for either of them. And so if that ever happens, then we're going to see a lot of fear. And that's what the WTO protests later this month in Seattle are going to be about. That's right. You coming out? We're going to be marching. Yeah. It's about big business undermining democracy. You know, so with this anti-government rhetoric, in the context of that bumper sticker, you know, it's like how a demagogue always knows how to spin the situation around for their own benefit. You know, to many people with a religious or an economic agenda, you know, democracy's a hindrance, you know, so don't believe the hype. Big business is only accountable to its board members, and big religion to its followers. And so the person who lacks an affiliation with either of these just can't throw the bums out like you can in a democracy. So, you know, to myself, a sticker that read, "I love my country, but I'm frustrated with my government," that would make more sense today, because there are a lot of legitimate frustrations with our system. And that sticker makes a lot of sense in my neighborhood, by the way. So, you know, I'm frustrated. I'm sure people here are frustrated with the way things are going in this country. Is there a pulse of frustration out there? I am so frustrated. You know what frustrates me is that, you know, we just had was there an election here in beginning of November? So I walk in the voting booth, right? And I find myself voting more often than not for the lesser of two evils, right? There's candidate A, candidate B, or candidate R, or candidate D, and then some, like, you know, third party, Mike the Mover or something like that, inconsequential candidate, right? So how could you throw the bums out with that situation? And you know, basically the way we elect our people in this country is antiquated and obsolete, you know? So why is it that if you're running for office and you win just 50.1% of the vote in your district, you go and then you represent 100% of the district? So that means that the 49.9% of the people who didn't vote for you, their vote doesn't matter at all. It doesn't even warrant any representation. And what's even worse is that you still got to pay taxes, right? And this country was founded on the notion that taxation without representation is wrong, right? So hey, I'm frustrated. I pay a lot of taxes, as we all do, right? You know, and as Americans, we're used to choices, right? We walk into the supermarket, we walk down that shopping aisle, it's the cereal aisle. There's all kinds of cereal out there, right? There's Fruit Loops, Captain Crunch, Count Chocula, Raisin Bran, I can just name them off, right? Organic granola. But when we walk in the voting booth, there's only really two choices. And that choice is money and business. Okay, that's a good point. And I'll get to that.